This was the craziest shoot I've ever done. We had a gorilla, floating models, a couple of jazzy filters, and an on-camera flash I'd never used before. We had just 2 days to deliver 40 images and 7 videos with just a crew of 2 people. Here's how we pulled it off. So the very first thing we shot on day 1 was my assistant director dressed up as a gorilla. We'd ordered the suit online for about 60 quid, and I was convinced it was going to look absolutely awful, like a Halloween costume. And once we got him zipped in and I looked at the screen, it actually looked very, very good. The sun was sitting just behind the trees that we were shooting in, so we could use all the natural daylight that was pouring through the back, and it gave it this nice bokeh because you can see all the messy leaves out of focus in the background, which looks quite nice. And that's why we chose this spot. Not only does it look a tiny bit like a jungle with the rocks and everything, but the trees are acting like a natural diffusion, so they're not just blasting him in the face, because otherwise the lighting would have been way too harsh and we'd have had to get out our diffusion, which would have just wasted a bit of time. And usually I wouldn't mind setting up diffusion because I have an assistant, but this time my assistant was a gorilla. I shot it tight on the Sigma 28-45 1.8 to blur everything out with the sunlight spilling through the trees as a messy backlight. Once we got into the images, I started testing out a few new toys. First up was the orb filter. It screws onto the lens and everything apart from the very center turns into this swirling blur. It was perfect for the gaming shots. And for that setup, we used a proper neon look. Coloured tubes around the room and an Amran 300C pushing coloured light across the scene, just to give it that gaming vibe. Then there's the motion blur filter. This one you hold freehand against the edge of the lens, and wherever you place it, that part of the frame gets a streaked blur, almost like you're using slow shutter. And the nice thing is you can keep your subject entirely sharp while adding motion to the edges. Both of these creative filters are cheap, lightweight, and I'll definitely be using them again, especially for things like music videos. So I also used a flash for this shoot, the Godox V1 Pro. It's designed to be an on-camera flash, but I used it off-camera and it was an absolute game changer. Because it's so small, I could hold it in one hand and shoot with the other, or I could have my assistant diffuse it on the fly. I also grabbed a tiny diffusion dome for it, which softened things out nicely when it got too harsh. Most of the time I used it to backlight the subject if the sun was too flat, or would boost the sunlight from the same angle just to even things out. Normally I'd just rely on daylight, but the flash added that extra 3D pop that just makes it look a lot more intentional, like a proper photo shoot, rather than just candid snaps. So the camera we shot everything on was the Lumix S1 II, and honestly, there couldn't have been a tougher project to test this on. A true hybrid camera was essential. One body that could handle both photo and video without slowing us down. And with video, everything apart from VFX was also handheld, and the stabilization made it look way smoother than it should have. There was one whip down shot from the phone to the actor that just looks like it's on a gimbal, and it wasn't. It was just me sprinting around. And I never thought I'd rely on an EVF, but I ended up using it so much for both video and photos in this project. The sunlight was brutal that day, and the viewfinder came in clutch. I could zoom right in to make sure that the products were definitely in focus, and then I could confidently tick shots off as we went. And speaking of ticking shots off, this video is sponsored by me. I've put together an advanced shot list template that will help you streamline your shoots and impress your clients. It's the same ones I've been using on my video and photo projects. It's got drop downs for camera angles, approval columns where your client can hit yes or no, plus space for image references. You can use it on your client projects, or even just to plan and script your own videos for YouTube or socials. And I'm giving it away completely free. Just hit the link in the description and grab your copy. Let's get back to the video. Now on to VFX. So we needed 2 shots where the models were actually floating. For the indoor setup, we kept the lighting simple. We had a massive softbox right by the window, so it just felt like natural daylight. And then we had a little backlight behind her just to separate her from the background. We shot one clean plate of the scene and then another with the model propped up so I could composite them back in later. Careful framing, consistent lighting, and the effect worked straight away. I'll break down exactly how we pulled it off in my next video, including how we used AI to teleport the model into different scenes without using green screen at all. So yeah, a gorilla, floating people, teleportation, all shot in 2 days by 2 people. Somehow it all came together in the end. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the VFX breakdown, and I will see you in the next one.